This very powerful Gemini full moon is going to be a gateway towards hearing the thing, speaking the thing, finally having that conversation that maybe you didn't want to have. And again, the double-mindedness, maybe you saw the advantages or disadvantages from actually speaking and saying and asking for what it is that feels like it's just under the surface until you reach a moment that is spontaneous, that is unexpected, and it might be wrought in some ways with that sense of urgency. And yet, there's also such an energy of power here. Sometimes it isn't about the outcome, it isn't about how other people will acquiesce to your request, but rather it is about the asking itself that we make gains. And sometimes those gains are just knowing that we are worthy to advocate on our own behalf, to speak on our own behalf, and that we're worthy of taking steps towards moving towards whatever it is that we think is going to be better for us, and however we might understand that. And in this way, these very powerful energies of this time with this very powerful full moon are saying, yeah, we might see multiple ways with which we could go, we could choose, we could advance, we could move forward. The many ways in which we might interpret a given situation and the different feelings it evokes, depending on what interpretations we choose. But ultimately, it is the path that allows us to feel in touch with those things that we like about ourselves. When we are at our most powerful and inspired best, well, it is those paths that are the most trusted paths to take now. Now, how this full moon speaks to you in your sign depends on your sun, moon, and rising. Take all three into consideration, synthesize the information to make it unique to you. And there's lots more horoscopes available right now over on my YouTube channel, Nadiya_Shah, and in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com. Aries, siblings, cousins, neighbors, some of this energy of tension, of passion, of joy, of fun, of connection, of emotional truth, all of that might play out in terms of your connection with one of these people. They very certainly are likely to come into focus in some way for you now, with more attention being paid, more time spent together. Outside of that, though, this can be a part of your understanding of your learning journey. This part of the sky has to do with how you're processing and understanding information and taking on new skills, and where it is that you just find your curiosity awakened. Well, learning can happen in a way that feels very rewarding. Taurus, money you earn, money you spend, self-love, self-esteem, financial matters may come into focus at this time. Now, Mercury is very newly direct, and so it tends to not be the best time for big financial purchases unless it's not a big deal to you. It's up to you to decide what to do. But this is a very powerful energy to understand what you define prosperity to be, what feels like prosperity to you. And given the aspects taking place, impulse purchases might very much be part of the picture. Impulse purchases that are rooted in what you think is going to be fun or beautifying or pleasuring. Those are the types of purchases that tend to feel like they feel especially urgent, and you got to get on it, you got to get it done. It's up to you again. Now, outside of that, though, this can be a great determination to align with greater prosperity in some way. And so that sense of abundance of ideas and abundance of options where it comes to how you might cultivate more prosperity in your life as you uniquely define it might be part of this time. Gemini, identity, who you know yourself to be, what matters to you most and first. It is illuminated in a moment that feels passionate, that feels possibly intense, that might feel like it pushes buttons. I want to be straightforward with you. Whatever buttons are pushed, whether they feel more about worthiness or whether they feel more about how passions or desires or anger even are stirred, whatever that is for you, remember, keep the focus on you, because it is about who you know yourself to be. It is about what you really want. That is what's going to come right to the surface in a way that is undeniable. And from there, you get to make much more conscious choices as part of figuring out what the best steps are and how it is that you're going to move towards this truth that you're realizing about you. Cancer, soul, psyche, spirit. If anybody out there is going to feel restless, it's you. This is a very restless energy at play. This inner sense of maybe not feeling like you can really rest. Now, this might just come and go rather quickly. The best thing to do with this energy really is to move, to act, in some cases quite physically, is a good way to dispel some of this energy, whether that is moving towards projects that matter to you, goals that you have, or whether it is just, physically getting a little bit more active around the days of the full moon. That can help you to resolve some of this energy. Getting rest, I mean, I think it's going to be really hard to do, but that just might be what is needed. So that you work through some of these energies that can feel a little bit like a roller coaster to some out there. For all of that, though, trust the wisdom of whatever you feel. Trust the wisdom of whatever feels frustrating to you now. You will make sense of it, but it's almost like you've got to feel it so that you can acknowledge it, and then you're free of some perhaps long-held frustration that you just don't need to align with or carry anymore. Leo, friendships, group dynamics, and your involvement with other people, especially in social situations as well. If you are attending social situations around the full moon, there might be interactions or events there that feel, on the one hand, magnetic, or they just might feel like they really push some buttons within you. Either way, those might be buttons you want to have pushed or buttons you don't want to have pushed. These are oppositions. They really could go either way. But for all that, I think for most Leos, this is going to be some truth that you recognize about your relationship with someone you consider a friend, how good a friend they are, how bonded or connected to them do you feel or not. It's going to be part of what you might be exploring in some way for yourself at this time. There might be for some Leos a very distinct experience that makes the truth of your dynamic with another or with a group in a way that is visceral, in a way that is undeniable, so much so that you've got to pay attention for the truth revealed there, which just might be the truth of whether or not this is someone you're meant to keep in your life. Virgo, career, social standing, life purpose, and your understanding of a higher, more loving vision for your life, a determination and ambition. Maybe goals or deadlines are calling you at this time, and you're very focused on having to get them done, wanting to get them done. And that can be a wonderful way to harness this energy, to channel this energy towards giving it something to do so that you are moving towards goals or deadlines that matter to you. But know that this can also represent a moment where bosses or people in positions of authority are in some way dramatic or inappropriate even as well. I'm so sorry to say. What I can say is that none of this is a surprise. So if you know that you have a boss who already can be that way, that is part of what will stir for you at this time. But if it is the case that that isn't in your life, you don't have a toxic boss, then how wonderful. What a great thing. Chances are this isn't going to show up that way then. But for all of that, where you are connecting with your own motivation to align with life purpose, well, that's where this energy really helps you to get in touch with your truth and give your energy to the things that matter to you. Libra, long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, legal matters, and your understanding of the world around you. And this is a very powerful energy that reorients you to the world around you. I gotta say, whether it is your own beliefs, political, philosophical, or spiritual, that feel in some way challenged, that is a possibility here. Also possible is if you are in any of these institutions I just mentioned, well, yeah, there might be situations here that you feel like you have to respond to very quickly, that feel like there might be some negotiation that needs to happen, some balance needs to be reached. But that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to feel comfortable. However, you might find resolution, which will make the journey worth it. To know that you addressed a situation and you're able to now put it behind you is part of what just might help you to feel that much stronger. Scorpio, profound change, truth, transformation, regeneration, and wealth. Your relationship with financial institutions. You might very quickly have to pay attention to a matter having to do with a loan or a scholarship or benefits you qualify for. Maybe you need to follow up. Maybe you need to provide more documents. Whatever it is, you're able to meet the moment. And when we have such strong financial energy, it means that the money you need is there. You're navigating spiritual lessons along the way. For all of that, though, I do think that this energy can speak powerfully to you getting in touch with what it is to be true to yourself and what it is that you don't want to carry into your future. This idea of what stays and what goes is a big part of this part of the sky, metaphorically, and that facilitates a meaningful change for you now as you get your priorities straight. What is it that now you're ready to move forward from? You identify it and you feel stronger as you move towards a life better lived, more authentically yourself. Sagittarius, love partnerships of all kinds are covered here, including business partnerships as well. Now, whether it's business, whether it's romantic, other people are going to ask for or need your focus in some way. And perhaps in a moment that feels like it has tension, maybe one of these people is bringing the drama. Maybe they are accusing you of bringing the drama. And it's up to you to decide how much you're going to consider that to be valid or not. But for all of that, if it is that you are open to meeting someone new, someone will be there to help you to understand where you are in love and how you feel about it. And where it is that you are already connected with someone, this is a big moment of truth to help you to understand how you really feel about them. Where relationships are good, they will grow that much more fiercely committed. Where they are not, this will be a turning point moment that might have you going another way. Capricorn, your clients, customers, coworkers, your daily life is covered here, as well as how well you take care of you in terms of your health related habits. This is a time of honesty about how you are actually living and how you feel about it and where it is perhaps you want to feel stronger. Now, that might be in terms of your health and making changes at this time that help you to feel stronger, but it could also be in terms of your work. What work is going to feel more rewarding? Now, there might be some tense interactions with one of these people I just mentioned. Not comfortable, not easy, but there is something honest that comes forward at this time. And it helps you to understand what your expectations are of others, what you are giving, where you think those alliances and relationships are fair and where you don't. And this just might be necessary to help you to understand what you bring, what you contribute, and who other people are as part of figuring out what it is that you might want to do in a very literal sense with your work, with certain clients next. Aquarius, romance, flirtation, what the heart truly wants, and what it wants in every area of life. What's going to make you happy? What brings you joy? Now, there's a lot of tension here, which does suggest friends are part of bringing the drama or bringing some tension in some way, but it ultimately helps you to get in touch with some truth within yourself. Outside of that, though, yes, you are getting your flirt on, and it might be with a friend. It might be in a place that's kind of inappropriate, at a social event, in a group setting. However, whatever that flirtation is, it helps you to understand what you're really going for where it comes to love. It certainly can help redefine something within yourself so that you are more clear as to the type of love and experience in love you desire. Pisces, home, the past, your living situation, your family of origin, and your parents in particular, where that applies, this is energy that says you will likely feel like you want to spend time at home working on projects that matter to you. If you have a home-based business or you work with homes, this can be a time when you're expending a whole lot of energy in that regard. Now, outside of that, just wanting to be with family more is part of what I feel like it motivates you now. Now, if it is that you have certain family members that push buttons or, they bring the drama, for example, yeah, some of that might feel like a tendency that is stronger than it might otherwise be. And it's up to you to decide how you're going to respond to a given situation. For some, though, I would say if you know that there are certain people who push buttons in a way that feels toxic to you, that doesn't feel comfortable to you, there are absolutely ways in which you can ensure that you are okay as you navigate this time so that you are actually spending time with those people who aren't just family, but feel like family as well. Well, thank you so much for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.